Editing has always been something that location has had more flexibility on than a lot of the roles in the production process. Even if you're a freelance editor by trade, it's likely you're expected to commute to work in-house at a post-production facility or at a smaller edit suite in-house at a production company. The pandemic has pushed many editors and even colorists to work remotely, and today I want to take a look at some of the workflows available. Hi, I'm Scott, a director and cinematographer based in London, England. Welcome to the channel. When the global pandemic hit in the March of last year, like the rest of the industry, the first lockdown sent me into unemployment. At least at the start, there were no shoots going on, but the big wheels of post-production kept on turning. And with a distant background in editing music promos, television shows, as well as a stint working as an edit producer on season 5 of The Voice, I was able to diversify and managed to pick up some editing work. In this video, I want to take a look at the pros and the cons of working remotely, as well as the workflow and time management practices that can help you as an editor get the most out of your working day. Working remotely brings a load of positives, but with it, a number of challenges too. As a city-based editor, for me, the number one positive has to be no commute. That means more hours in bed, time to go for a run, or just get the laundry done. It means I'm not wasting anywhere from an hour to 2 hours of my day sat on stuffy tubes and trains, crammed in like a sardine tin. Secondly, I love the flexible hours. If for some stupid reason I don't fall asleep at 2 AM and don't fancy getting up at 7 for the alarm, then I can just work later as long as no deadlines are affected. And on the flip side, when I have my many nights when I wake up at 5 in the morning, if I can't get back to sleep, I'll just get up and start working. And then maybe come 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'll take 2 hours out. Being flexible just makes life less stressful. Feedback falls into both the pros and the cons list. In the pros list, you're not getting an immediate over-the-shoulder reaction, something that hasn't been too considered. The person or persons giving feedback are more likely to take time consolidating their notes
and perhaps consider their initial reaction before responding.
One of the things that I found slightly frustrating, which aren't exclusive to working remotely, is technical hiccups. If rushes have been delivered via Dropbox and maybe you're working on an existing project, I'm quite often finding things are missing, not syncing up, and there's quite a lot of legwork in pulling everything together, which often leads to delayed timelines and means that you have to find flexibility elsewhere.
You just got here with a haircut, just got it done this morning. Lockdown is starting to ease, and I just realised I was coming across super negative about working remotely or even working at all. And I don't want to come across that way. I enjoy the work, whether it's remotely or in the office. And I'm very grateful for it, particularly in the last 8 months. But I just thought it might be an interesting topic for other editors to think about, talk about, discuss.
On the flip side of the flexibility, there definitely seems to be a lot less personal boundaries between the working world and the 9 to 5, or in the creative industry, 10 till 6 hours that are considered somewhat regular working hours. I've had a client call me up at 11:30 PM on a Thursday night. I've had Zoom calls at 8 in the evening.
I've had people calling me on the weekend.
This has been a bit of a learning curve, where the boundary between being a responsive and efficient worker versus actually having a life as much as you can in these COVID times outside of hours has really conflicted. I've even gone as far as to having no phones weekends. Friday evening, come 6 o'clock, I turn my phone off and it's in the drawer until Monday morning, because it's the only way I can guarantee that those boundaries are kept. Obviously, this is personal preference. Some people are workaholics and live to work every moment, but I truly think that creating boundaries between the working day and time for yourself is really important. The negative side of the feedback is in a larger organisation where you might be having review meetings where you sit in a room with 10, 15 people, review and edit, discuss it.
Over email,
you're getting itty-bitty bits from this person, bits from that person. And at least I find it a lot harder than in person to stand up for your decision-making and the reasons why you might have done something if you truly believe that was the right way to have approached it. This is where living in 2021 really makes this a reality. Internet speeds are such that I'm being delivered rushes over Dropbox, Google Drive, WeTransfer, in the top tier budget market of which I am not a part of. Frame.io have recently released some incredible tools for really streamlining the process. I'll leave a link in the description below to some more info on that. Of course, living in a city like London, bikes, couriers, and even Uber drivers are still very much a regular use of transportation for shipping drives around. As for reviewing, some clients are really big on using spreadsheets and Google Docs.
I know a lot of people rave about Frame.io, and it does offer a number of features that other platforms don't.
But Vimeo Review is my personal favourite. Leaving timestamped checkable off comments just makes amends so much easier. Harking back to the joys of flexibility when working remotely, coupled with the lack of boundaries from some clients and that all-important work-life balance, time management is super important. Now, I'm always looking for ways to improve my workflows, so if anyone watching has any better solutions to this, then please leave a comment below. But for me personally, as a freelancer, as an individual, I I simply use Google Calendar. I have a personal calendar set in the color blue, and I have a work calendar set in the color green. I base my edit time off a standard 8-hour working day and go from there, being super rigid with the time I spend on things. If I end up spending half an hour or an hour extra on something, then I'll amend that in the calendar. And if I go out for a run for half an hour and it turns into an hour, then I'll amend that in the calendar. This is super helpful if you're balancing more than one job, and it comes in very necessary when it comes into sending your invoice. I'd be really interested to hear from any other freelance editors working remotely during this hopefully final lockdown of 2021. How do you approach things? I hope you found this video useful. Make sure to subscribe for more semi-helpful tips and insider industry knowledge, and I'll see you next week.